Some of the best freshmen to come in the SEC in quite some time, returning starters that showed signs of promise. These are my picks for the top breakout players to appear in the SEC in 2025. Hello, everyone. I'm Lucas Hill here with you once again on another great edition of SEC at the Voice of College Football. Make sure you do us a favor, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Continue to smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we post a new video right here on SEC Live here at the Voice of College Football. Always make sure that you follow us on the socials. Follow me on X at Lucas_Hill23. Follow the Voice of College Football at THEBOCFB. We're live every Monday night. We actually went live last night with our very first call-in show on SEC Live in South Carolina, live at the Voice of College Football. And for more information on our sponsor, Amazon, click the link in the description below. Get you logged in automatically to your account. So, Mark, take it over.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link, and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
Let's talk about some of the best breakout players in college football. There's my top 10 list. But let's go over the honorable mentions right now. Kayton Lee I have as an honorable mention. And why is that the case? Kayton Lee had a pretty solid tenure last year at Ole Miss, was an all-SEC third team. You would think that he wouldn't necessarily be a breakout player. But I do think that he's going to go above and beyond what he did last year. He's going to take over for where Trey Harris left off for Ole Miss. 57 receptions, 874 yards. He's going to get targeted a lot in the end zone. This is a guy that I think can get you yards after catch, can take one to the house, a guy that's going to be the number one target for Austin Simmons in this offense in 2025. When I look at Myles Graham has a lot of potential as a Florida linebacker. Here's a guy that last year didn't get a lot of playing time during his freshman year, 30 tackles, had a sack and an interception. But I do see him as the unheralded leader, a guy that I think could follow in the great line of Florida linebackers that have appeared through the years. He's going to take over for a spot that Jack Pyburn left in that Florida defense. I think he can take a big step forward going into 2025. I think he should lead the team in tackles this upcoming season. But again, I think this is a young man that is going to continue to develop at the linebacker position, continue to develop in this complex defense that is Ron Roberts's. It's a defense that I'm not a fan of, but it's a defense that can get the job done at the end of the day. One that I thought really showed out at the end of the year, especially with games like LSU, with Georgia, with Ole Miss. Games like that can make a big difference. Bo Walker, to me, the upcoming freshman, 5'9", 210 pounds, may not get a lot of playing time because of guys like Nate Walker still continuing on. Or Nate Reed, excuse me. That'll be your starting back this upcoming season. But Walker is a guy that, to me, top 20 running back in the nation, powerful back. And I think this is an opportunity for him, especially during spring, where he started to showcase that talent that he has at the end of the day. Here was a guy that I thought really showed out in spring practice. I think he's going to continue to elevate his game. He's going to get his touches throughout the season, even though he and Nate Frazier will be splitting a lot of carries. I think that at the end of the day, he's going to take advantage of his carries, and I think he's going to continue to develop at a very high rate. No question in my mind of what type of athlete that this young man is. Let's talk about Jack Andrews as well, the new Texas tight end, the transfer from Cal. Honorable mention ACC, was actually named to the John Mackey Award preseason watch list, was a top 30 eligible top tight end according to Phil Steele. Started his career as a walk-on, was a nominee for the Burlsworth Trophy as well. Was an All-American, honorable mention All-American according to the College Football Network and The Athletic in 2023. Had 56 receptions, 623. Guys, he's going to fit right into this Texas Longhorns offense. I think he can fit in well with what Kyle Flood and AJ Milwee want to do with this spread up, with this pro spread offense, even though you may have lost 2 back-to-back tight ends, with losing guys like Jatavion Sanders from last year, or from 2 years ago, excuse me. Obviously, losing another tight end in Gunnar Helm, who I thought was going to be the first tight end taken off the board, but I was sadly mistaken. But I think he's going to continue the trend of great tight ends that have come through Texas over the last couple of years. Can break out in any game. Look at a stretch that he had between Miami and Pitt and NC State, where he had a combined total 21 receptions and had just under 300 yards of total offense in this game. Find him in the red zone. He's going to dominate for you, for your Texas Longhorns. He's going to be a great addition to the Sark offense. Let's kick it off with number 10 and Zion Kernney. Why do I have Zion Kernney right here from Oklahoma? Guys, in my opinion, Zion Kernney is one of those wide receivers that is not going to get a lot of focus at the end of the day. Top 15 wide receiver according to ESPN coming out of high school. Last year was a backup. Had 8 receptions, 128 yards, and a touchdowns. Had 2 catches, including a 56-yard reception that led to a score in the Armed Forces Bowl. He could be your deep play threat at the end of the day. We've seen him. Majority of his catches have been for 15 yards or more. He averaged 16 yards a carry, or 16 yards a catch last year. I know that you still have Deion Burks in your backfield, but I think Kernney can be a solid number 2 for John Mateer if he ends up going into the passing game, which I think could be a really, really significant factor for him, especially with how he's continuing to develop. There's a lot of receivers that Oklahoma has to replace from last year. Kernney could elevate himself into that number 2 role, and I think he could be prone to maybe an underrated breakout season. He could be do more than what the 128 have this year. Maybe a 30 or 40 reception guy. He may not pass the 1,000-yard mark, but I do think he's going to play a critical role as a deep play threat. At 6'1", 210 pounds, he has a very, very good frame for what he can do at the next level. Number 9, I have Brian Thomas from South Carolina. Guys, I watched Brian Thomas a lot last year, and I thought he absolutely dominated off the edge. He's got an awesome opportunity to really elevate his game more in this Clayton White offense. We've talked about what he can do at the end of the day. Guys, he is a really, really dominant defensive end. Going into his 4th year as a senior, he's going to start this year. Last year, didn't start a lot, but when he did, 4.5 sacks this year. He's got 5.5 in his career. He's going to be in the backfield on a consistent basis. Having to replace a guy like Kyle Kennard off the edge is not easy. But I do think that him and Dylan Stewart, with the combination that they have off the edge, they could create a significant breakout year that could turn into a solid campaign for Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas, in my opinion, is one of those guys that's going to go under the radar. He's not going to get this. He's going to get overlooked because everybody's going to focus on Dylan Stewart. I don't think people are paying attention enough to what Brian Thomas has to offer. He's a really, really good player off the edge. learning from some of the best in that defensive line room, learning from what Tavarius Robertson has done in that defensive line room, and how he's going to continue to elevate his game at the end of the day. Number 8, I have Kayton Durham. Kayton Durham last year, again, was another running back that went under the radar last year. Made a huge difference for the LSU Tigers last year on the ground. 140 carries for 753 and 6 scores. The guy can break out at any given time. He's a big difference as to why LSU is as good as they were on the ground last year. Well, he was one of the few bright spots with the ground game. Guy is a do-it-all type of back. Even when he struggles with running the football, 11 carries for 15 yards against Texas A&M. Had 4 receptions for 56 against the A&M Aggies. He's going to be your feature back going into this year. I know that people are going to talk about him, Harlem Berry, and Caleb Jackson going into this season. But I do think that a guy like Kayton Durham, who's a feisty back, even though he's undersized at 5'9", doesn't go down after initial contact, fights for every single yard that he gets. Kayton Durham is going to run for over 1,000 yards this year. I think he's going to be the big difference as to why LSU is going to have a more balanced attack than they did last year. 7, I have Barion Brown. Barion Brown last year was, again, an All-American as a special teamer. But what can he do at the receiving side of things? First team All-American last year in 2 years ago in 2023 as a special teamer. Had only 29 receptions for 361 last year. But you can utilize Barion Brown in a variety of different ways. Guys, Brown is a really good good special teamer, and he's going to continue to show why he's an elite special teamer in 2025. Guys, he is a do-it-all back. He is, in my opinion, one of those guys that can break off a big run at the end of the day, set a team up in good field position. But what does he do when it comes to the receiving game? When you get him out in the slot, quick off the ball. Footwork is incredible. And I thought Barion Brown could have a realistic opportunity to do as much damage in the receiving game as he does on special teams. I firmly believe that. He's going to be a special teamer majority of the time. But I think he can have an opportunity to do more damage through the receiving game, especially with a quarterback like Garrett Nussmeier, than he will as well with special teams. 6, I have Fluff Bothwell. Guys, 2 of the 3 backs that were some of the best in college football in the transfer portal were from G6 schools. Crazy as this sounds, as insane as this sounds, guys, believe it or not, one of the best running backs coming from the transfer portal. In fact, in my opinion, 3 or 4 of the top running backs were from G6 schools. You obviously have Mekhi Hughes from Tulane, who's now at Oregon. You have Razul Faison, who we've talked about, who's at Utah, who came from Utah State and now hopefully will be a South Carolina Gamecock once the waiver finally goes through. Wayshawn Parker, you could consider that, from Washington State and now is at Utah. And Fluff Bothwell, who came from South Alabama from Mississippi State. Fluff Bothwell had a really good season in the option offense with him and Gio Lopez. South Alabama ground game was one of the best in college football. Fluff Bothwell, 111 carries, 832 yards, and 13 scores last year. Averaged almost 8 yards a carry. And the thing about Fluff Bothwell is the most carries he got in a game was 17 against ULM. And it was because of the dual threat capability of a guy like Gio Lopez that it was so consistent with how this offense worked in so many ways. You look at a game like they had against Appalachian State, where these two combined for over 250 or almost 220 yards of offense. Both of them are really, really good pieces. Now, if Bothwell is going to go into a situation at Mississippi State where last year they struggled finding an answer at running back. They had options with guys like Devon Booth, even Johnny Daniels at some point, but I don't think you had a feature back at the end of the day that could make a big difference for you. Fluff Bothwell could be the main difference for you, and in my opinion, could end up being one of the more underrated running backs in the SEC at the end of the day. He's going to provide a spark for Mississippi State's ground game that we haven't seen in a while. It's going to create a more balanced attack for Jeff Lebby and company, and it's going to make things a lot better and take the burden off of Blake Shapen to try and pass his way out of bad situations. Cam Shanks, I have coming in at 5. Last year was an All-American at UAB, also a special teamer. He's a Prattville native as well. First team All-American last year. Last year was a first team All-American Conference guy. And in fact, let me get my guy Scout from Southern Charm Sports on the phone to get you guys a little insight on Cam Shanks.
At Arkansas, they'll probably use him more as a return specialist and gadget guy. That frame, it should hold up in the SEC. I don't think he's too small for the SEC, but I don't think that they're going to try to, they're not going to try to throw him a moss ball or whatever, just lob it up to him on a go route.
So will he be more of? So will he be more of like a Barry and Brown?
Yeah, he's like inside the hash kind of guy, like over the middle will make something happen, that kind of thing. Okay. I think he could easily be the best returner in the SEC this year.
I figured so.
I'm not sure how many crazy returns there are, but
I think him and Barry and Brown are going to be more of your special teamer guys at the end of the day, but just we'll have to see about that. So, all right, dude. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
That is Southern Charm Sports, Scout, as we like to call him. But there you go. Evaluation of Cam Shanks, pretty obvious, guys. Going to be a return guy, going to be used in jump ball situations, can get the football at any given time. Number 4, I have Bray Hubard. Bray Hubard, to me, at the DB position, just gives me a lot of what Michael Taft does at Texas right now. Got into a much bigger position as the season wore on. 6 starts as the safety, had 3 interceptions last year and 57 tackles. So he's a guy that's going to be a run stopper at the end of the day. The guy can absolutely dominate when it comes to run fits. Dude is a very instinctive safety. In my opinion, him and Keon Sabb, I think, are going to be 2 of the best when it comes to that safety position in the class of 25. And Bray Hubbard's just going to continue to elevate his game as an Alabama Crimson Tide. Number 3, I have DJ Pickett. Guys, I've heard a lot of things going on in the LSU camp that say that DJ Pickett will be a future All-American at this point in time. And they say that even him, with what he's shown, they say he is better than Derek Stingley was coming out of high school. Number 1 cornerback in the nation, one of the top-rated guys in the class of 25, and absolutely has dominated throughout spring practice. I am excited to see what he brings on the field. They say he is going to be an island out there. Him and Derek Stingley's 24 campaigns, from what I'm hearing, are saying they should be very, very similar when it comes to the 2 of them. Number 2, I have Ahmad Hardy. Ahmad Hardy, I've been very high on as a running back. I thought he was really, really efficient at ULM. He's going to continue to showcase that same level of dominance. Powerful runner, doesn't go down after initial contact, finds the second level, follows his blockers well. High football IQ. is the biggest thing that I've heard when it came to a guy like Ahmad Hardy. And number one, in my opinion, Terry Bussey is the guy that you need to look out for. Him, Casey Concepcion are going to be your two top targets if you're Marcel Reed. You need to utilize both of them effectively. I've talked about how they can use them in a variety of different positions, such as when it comes to obviously the end around game, reverse game. Get them involved in this offense. They're more than just receivers. They're athletes. And you have to use your athletes right at the end of the day. And that's what you're going to do with those two guys. Terry Bussey showed out in a couple of games this past season. One of the best athletes coming out of the class of 2024. There's a reason why he was that guy. He put a little bit on display last year as a special teamer, as a receiver, even in some Wildcat situations. He's going to continue to showcase that talent in this year. And I think with a guy like Colin Klein at the helm, you better be ready for some craziness. Give me your takes as the top breakout players. Who did I miss? What did I miss out on? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys, as always, for watching us here on SEC Live and the Voice of College Football. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure you turn on the bell notification all the time as long as we are on here to get you notified for every time we post a new video, post a new short, or post a new live show. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, follow me on the X at Lucas_Hill23. Follow the Voice of College Football at THEVOCFB. And we will see you all in the next one.